Today is Wednesday, June 29th. This is a meeting of the Acushnet Board of Selectmen. Is there a motion to call the meeting to order?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Please rise to the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, gentlemen, we do not have any minutes that need to be approved today, so we do not have any appointments. We have a number of basic things to go through, and then we have executive session scheduled. First item under DPW 11 Village Ave Sewer Privilege Assessment. This is standard fare.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I looked at the number just recently and I seen this 14,1157. I don't believe that number is to be accurate for the simple reason that I pulled two other ones that we did in previous meetings just recently. Same book and page, same recording, January 23rd, 2006, and those amounts were $12,610.41. So I know the bylaw calls out 90% if it's done after the original assessment. So I believe that this number may have been the original assessment. And if you take the 90%, it would come out to exactly what we've done in the past. So I don't know if we should move to approve this until this is confirmed, the amount, because it does, I just seen this right prior to me getting in. I looked at this number and I was like, well, that number doesn't make sense, because I always knew the number to be around 12.5, and the number is 12,610.41. But for some reason, everything, all the language matches page to page outside of the actual assessment amount. And I took 90% of the original amount, this amount, and it does work out to this 12,610, and that's what the bylaw states. So
Okay. Why don't we do this in a motion to table? We'll just take it up at the next meeting.
Okay.
I'll check on it.
Can we just ask, probably the best person would be Kathy Silver in the DPW office to confirm that number. Maybe there's a reason why it's higher, I don't know.
All right, we're going to have a motion to table.
So move.
Second.
There's a motion on the floor and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Motion to table passes. All right, next item, number 2, street opening rule. This is a...
Mr. Chairman, we are still working on it. We have taken, Mr. Gasper and myself have been collecting a number of different towns and cities, methodologies for doing it. I'm putting a spreadsheet together on how they do it, and we're looking at the various sureties and the regulations and the fees. And we're going to continue to work on this until it's not only right, but simple, so that
Correct.
people can just come in and do it.
Have we notified the utilities of the vote we took on the moratorium last week?
I have drafted a letter. I have talked preliminarily with town council, and I'm going to continue after the 4th.
Great, thank you. All right, no action needed there. Item number 3, same thing, right? Roadway
Yeah,
construction maintenance plan.
The one thing is, Mr. Chairman, you've got a memo that I gave all of you today about some ARPA. We're going to have to coordinate all of the roadway construction and maintenance plan with the ARPA expenditures and the ARPA projects and the RAP project. So It's going to have to be Mr. Gasper and I will meet with Mr. Menard and try to lock down exactly how this is going to coordinate.
All right, sounds good. No action required there. All right. Old business, employee handbook. Gentlemen, any,
Motion to pass over.
there's a motion to pass over.
Second.
Motion on the floor, there's a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes. All right. Next item under AFSMI, maintenance. Mr. Moderator, Town Administrator.
Mr. Chairman, I've had discussions that were initiated by the staff representative of AFSCME when he heard the issue about the hours for our maintenance staff. And he said to me it had already been an understanding in the past, and he wanted to memorialize it. And so actually this shows what exists now. It contradicts the contract, but he said it was a practice that was in place that exists now. He gave it to us, so he's asking us to approve this.
Okay. Gentlemen?
Basically, this was something that Mr. Mara did with the two gentlemen that we hired several years back over their maintenance crews. They're not office staff, and what he did was he modified it because we were kind of not at our best in the winter months for getting our employees in at the 8 o'clock, so it gives them, Mr. Mara, some flexibility to let them come in a couple hours prior to clean up the parking lots before our employees are getting in, make sure our employees are safe to get in and out of work and things of the like, so I'm okay with this for now.
Yeah, second.
All right, is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
There's a motion on the floor and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I will get the agreement to the board to sign. It's not something that has to be done right away because the staff representative is away for 2 weeks.
Okay. All right, gentlemen, next item is committees and appointments of members. I think we've all looked through this. There's a lot of moving pieces to this, but there's a few committees that I've recommended that should be deleted. I think probably premature to take action on this today, is that right?
Yeah, I was just gonna ask a simple question, is if there's some discussion to have with Mr. Kelly over that, if we could just, is there any harm in us moving this out for the next meeting and carrying over from 1 year to another? Do the appointments lapse, or they just stay in place?
The appointments are filled until their replacement is appointed, certified.
Just carry over, have some discussion.
Motion to move table to the next meeting.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion on the floor and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. All right. Next item, appointment of interim treasurer collector. Mr. Kelly.
We've reached out to a retiree who is very capable and has in the past been recommended to me by a couple of town managers who are interim town managers at various places. They're retirees. They said this woman is very competent and is an expert not only in reconciling cash, but with the banking institutions, if we decide to go out and look for a new bank, she would be a great asset in advising us. She also is, you can see from her experience, she's been a finance director for 7 years in a large town. She's been collector treasurer for 8 years prior in another town comparable to this town, and an assistant treasurer prior to that. After she retired, she went back and she's been doing work for other towns. She is very highly recommended by Todd Hassett, who's our interim town accountant. He said he'd look forward to working with her, and I can't think of a better way to do what we've been doing in the accounting end of the finance area, now doing it with the treasurer collector. As you know, Mr. Hassett and our assistant accountant, Mr. Monticello, have found a number of issues in the accounting area that go back to 2010 that had to be corrected. We have got a couple issues coming up. We're also going out for an RFP on the auditing firm.
Okay.
I think we need someone who's got a great deal of experience. We are looking at a part-time. She can do up to 6 hours a day, Monday, Thursday, Friday, but it's at our discretion. And there are a couple weeks in the middle of the summer that she's already scheduled vacation. She'll not be available.
Okay.
But she also said she's willing at any period to take phone calls or emails and rectify things electronically.
Okay, great. Well, gentlemen, we're sort of in a tough spot here, but Mr. Kelly, I appreciate you leveraging the contacts that you've had in the industry to so we don't skip a beat. I think that's been what's gotten us through some of the difficult times we've had to deal with, is to be able to plug and play. So gentlemen, if there are no questions or concerns, ask for a motion to appoint Mary.
Well, there'll be a point pending you executing a contract with her, and we'll have a contract ready for you by the next.
So do you want to, what's the motion, just to have you go forward with negotiating a contract? Okay.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Kelly.
Thank you. All right, next item is Town Administrator's Report.
Mr. Chairman, we're going forward on the senior work-off program. And as you know, we've had some issues with some coverage in other offices. I've met with that individual, and we're going to see if we can leverage that, the people who've worked in that office before, and see if they qualify under the financial guidelines for the senior work-off program. So we can, as the board desires, keep that office open 8 to 4, and as well as some of the other places that we have issues. CPC, I just want to remind the board, it has to get going because we need a budget by fall town meeting from them. Otherwise, we can't set the tax rate.
Can we have Erin post on our Facebook page and the other town social media that we're looking for folks to serve on CPC?
We're looking for we've got 2 citizen vacancies, and then once you deal with the vacancy on the housing authority,
Right.
then you've got, at that point, you can fill the CPC housing. Unless there's someone on the housing authority now that wants it.
All right.
As far as the town administrator's office, the town administrator and the town planner were sworn in as circuit commissioners. We attended the meeting. I attended the Buzzard Bay Action Committee meeting, and as I told you, I've drafted the street opening moratorium letter. The fire chief contract will be dealt with later. We dealt with the fact of interim treasurer collector. Also, so you know that we and the citizens know that we are seamlessly moving in this. The bank signatory and check fobs have been changed. The assistant treasurer collector will have that authority until we execute the contract with the interim. advertisements have been replaced. Fall town meeting articles we've discussed in the past. I don't think there's
Mr.
any
Kelly, just
additions.
regarding fall town meeting, have you spoken with Chairman Boucher from the Finance Committee?
We're scheduled to speak the Monday or Tuesday, I'm not sure which, after the week after 4th of July, because he wasn't available to speak.
Right. We may have an issue, gentlemen, with the date that we selected for town meeting, because it sounds like there may be some key members of the Finance Committee who are out of town in November. And so that might be something.
It's October 24.
Yeah, the late October date,
Okay.
whatever we set as a date.
Okay. I think that was the date. There's a date. I think there may be an issue with that date of the 24th.
Because after that, we go into the elections.
I know, the states, but we talked about 2 dates, I think.
Yeah.
One day
Maybe
was
you
the
got
24th,
confused.
one day was the week before, or something like that.
Right.
We could do the
So
week before.
maybe that's what
Yeah.
these individuals are discussing is, they'll be available this week, but not the
But
last
we
week.
haven't advertised or anything else, so we can go forward with that.
He was just watching. We set the meeting.
So you're talking about the 17th.
Yeah. Yep. So if you can just
I'd
reach out
have
to
to
him.
check with the schools too.
Okay. Yep. All right.
Can you give us, the board, an update, Mr. Kelly, after you speak with the chairman of the finance committee, please? And have that on the agenda so that we can address that sooner rather than later, especially with the school department schedule.
All right. As far as ARPA goes, we're expecting any day now to get the second half of the direct allocation to the town, so that the total would be $1,112,103. The county goes different. We have to identify projects, jump through a number of hoops, prove we're financially solvent, and then they issue it to us even though it's our money. Municipal funds must be obligated by December 2024. However, the county funds now, they've added a wrinkle, and all must be used and distributed or encumbered by June 24. So my advice to the board is we spend the county money first.
Okay.
And a number of tasks we've accomplished, and a number we've got to accomplish in the next couple of weeks. So we're all set for the board to make their determinations and take votes on what they want to do as far as the construction projects. This is something that is going to be, especially with the county, on a quick track as far as getting things done, because they've put so many hoops in our way, and they've shortened the time frame by 6 months. We're still waiting on the MOA on Lake Street, and at your next meeting, we're going to have to discuss how we reply on the TIP project, since they're looking for some kind of commitment but haven't provided any plans at all. My advice
That's
is...
the answer, right? Like, we're more than happy to consider it, but we need to see plans, and
And it has to be referred to town meeting at some point.
that's the answer. All right.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Excuse me. While we're on the town administrator's report, I have a concern, been an ongoing concern that we haven't addressed yet, is department head contracts, the employment agreements that we've had with department heads. We've never done that. this year. And it's something that we've done for decades with our department heads and having that employment agreement with them. I would like for Mr. Kelly to do something with that over the next couple of weeks and bring it back to the board for consideration at our next meeting. Something that we didn't do. The last chairman either neglected to do it or just decided it was unimportant, whatever it may be, but it's something that should have been taken care of in that previous time. And it wasn't.
Explain that to me again.
We didn't do that this year with anyone. And I think that, as far as
Okay, so they're basically, they're
the employment agreement,
Right,
so
right.
it's basically something that we do every year.
Yeah.
You're familiar with the process,
Yeah,
and I don't think it's fair for some of our department heads have been here for a good amount of time. They're extremely valuable to the town, to the taxpayers of the town. I think, we as the Board of Selectmen, we owe it to them to give them something. It's basically a 1-year guarantee of employment. That's all that is. That's something that we've done for a long time. I feel that we should be and continue to be obligated to do so, to give them a peace of mind.
Mr. Chairman, since the employee handbook hasn't been reviewed and approved, it's the judicious thing to do at this point. We were involved with the financial issues and then everything else with the deficits. And what I thought would be a quicker process in the employee handbook isn't, so you're gonna really need that. Should I look it over?
Well, here's the thing, though. I mean, not all employees are created equal, right? And so I think as a board, we should have a discussion about performance review, right? There should be some performance reviews with with our employees to determine whether or not someone will be offered an agreement.
Could I put together drafts for each employee and bring it to the board quickly with the basic, they serve until replaced as it stands right now after July 1.
Right.
This will just memorialize it, and it will make sure that you have people that can do the job. There is no situation that it would impact negatively on the rights of this board.
Right. Okay.
I could just prepare the documents and present it to the board, and you vote at the next meeting.
I think that's fair. But I'd like to put some thought into moving forward now that we've got you on board. A review process. One where there's a half-year review and an end-of-year review, because I think that would be helpful to the board.
I already have a form ready and a PowerPoint presentation if you want.
Thank you. Okay. All right. Anything else, gentlemen?
No, is that the end of the agenda? Just have the opportunity again. Have a happy, safe 4th of July weekend. That's what's most important. Be safe.
Right. All right. We are now going to be going into executive session to discuss. We will be not adjourned, so we'll be. There's 3 executive session topics. First executive session under General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21, Subsection 3, to discuss strategy with respect to litigation. P.J. Keating. If an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the litigating position of the public body, and the chair so declares, review of matters presented, votes may be taken. Executive session. I don't have to go into roll call on each one, do I, Jeff?
No, I think you can do
bundle
all
them
3 of them and then
Okay.
one roll call.
All right, executive session under General Law 30A, Section 21, Subsection A, 2, to conduct strategy and preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel, or to conduct contract negotiations with non-union personnel. Fire chief, if an open meeting will have a detrimental effect on the bargaining position of the public body as the chair so declares, and the board will not return to public session. Number 3, executive session under General Law 30A, Section 21, Subsection A3, to conduct strategy and preparation for negotiations with union personnel, to conduct contract negotiations with union personnel, police, fire, ASME, DPW, an open meeting will have a detrimental effect on the bargaining position of the public body as the chair so declares, and the board will not return to public session.
Are we, on the first one, Mr. Chairman, before we roll call vote, are we not returning to public session on that one as well?
We are not going to public session on any of these.
Okay, the first one didn't say that, thank you.
Roll call vote, Mr. Gasper?
Yes.
Mr. Hinckley?
Yes.
I am a yes, and we are now in executive session.